So this is a presentation that is very, very dear to me because um, I'm an avid VTuber watcher, and I think it's been maybe less than a year since I started, and I it was like, what is it, hook, line, and sinker. As soon as my brother sort of like mentioned it, so this is the one presentation that I have been very excited to do all day. So hopefully, you guys enjoyed and find some really interesting stuff in it. All right, cool. The psychology of a VTuber. Real quick, so this presentation is going to go out um, on YouTube as well. So I'm going to do a brief presentation on that. Or a brief sort of intro and outro. When I do say I'm about to leave or like thank you for watching, it's not the end of the stream. I'm just ending the YouTube video to make it easier on my baby bro who is doing the editing on all of this. All right, cool. So hello and welcome to another video. I am Dr. Gremlin or Dr. Elizabeth from Psychology for Geeks, and today I'm going to be talking about the psychology of a VTuber or of VTubers. Really quickly intro, and this is so cool because so listen, I'm actually recording this live on my 12, like on YouTube, on my 12-hour stream to try to raise up some funds for Psychology for Geeks. And as I was starting this presentation, my favorite VTuber, or one of my favorite VTubers, Iron Mouse, which is, you see the picture here, is starting her own stream. So I really want to end this so I can go watch her stream, but I will be professional and continue anyway. So just a little bit about VTubers. This is kind of like a really cool um, sort of like detailed example of VTubers. So a VTuber really is kind of like a YouTuber, someone who has made a career or like it's as a side job. They do streams either on Twitch or on YouTube or other like platforms. And then so instead of like YouTubers, they're like VTubers because they're like virtual. So for all of these people, they usually look like animated characters, kind of like this one. So sorry about the quality. I just found this really cool and then like I stretched it. Or maybe it's just my eyes. Can you guys see? Because it looks kind of pixelated for me. Let me see. I don't know. Maybe for you guys it looks also pixelated. My apologies on that. Uh, so yep. Um, so essentially, what VTubers do is they use this face tracking technology to play. So sometimes it's like a full on play of this character. These characters have their own backstory. They have a name. They have like goals and stuff. Sometimes the person who is a VTuber makes it really obvious that that they're another person, but they don't want to reveal their name, or they want their privacy, or this is just like a much better, easier way for them to sort of like interact with people. So they create sort of like these models. This one in particular is Matara Khan. She is a cockroach from space. That's why she kind of looks like that and has like a bunch of arms and stuff and kind of weird looking legs. So each of them, they typically have um a model that looks kind of like a person, and a model that doesn't really look like a person, that's more like animal, like where they have like ears or they look like a actual reindeer or whatever it is, depending on what their character or their character story is like. So here we see another example. This is Michi Mochibi, and she is another one of my very favorite VTubers. She has her own backstory as well, and every one of these people, they have like a slightly different style. Some of them work for companies, some do not. So it's just like they're people that instead of um sort of like showing their face like I am doing now on a stream, they use a model instead. So they use technology to kind of look like that, and some of them can be very intricate. These models are very, very costly. And for the most part, when it's a VTuber, it's either their part-time job or they're wanting to make it into like their full-time job. uh okay, so this is Haruka Karibu, and this is kind of what I was talking about. Like sometimes they have certain features that make them look a little bit less human. um so a lot of the reasons why VTubers prefer to use this method of streaming as opposed to showing their face is because of safety. It's either they become what they're, I believe they're called macro or micro celebrities, where they still stream to upwards to like maybe 30,000 people, maybe less, maybe more than that. And then so with it's a very niche thing within a niche. So if you're into streamers, you may have heard of VTubers. Like if you watch streamers, you may have heard of VTubers, you may not have, you may have not. So it's sort of like a niche thing within a niche thing, but it's still reaching a really wide audience. So a lot of it is because it can become there's a word that gets thrown around in this sort of like communities a lot, and that's like parasocial. A lot of people get very attached to these people because it's like once they're streaming, they're kind of like talking to you um through like their comments and stuff, and sometimes they have this technology or whatever it is that allows them to pay like a certain amount of money so their message can actually be read to them, and they can interact and respond, and we see them in a lot of areas of their life and stuff. So it kind of becomes a thing of like we think of them as friends, but we don't actually know them. So it's very similar to uh in real life, like celebrities like Ryan Reynolds or Taylor Swift, uh, where like we don't really know them, but we know so much about their life that it makes them seem like they're our friends, or like we could become friends with them. So again, safety is very important to them. Sometimes it's because of previous jobs, they have to go into this type of job now. Sometimes it's because in like they had like the traumatic life event that led them to want to isolate a little bit more, but we still crave and want um, sort of like a community. So this allows them to be able to work, make money, um, and have a community behind them. Sometimes it's because their physical health is a concern to them, so they're not able to hold a quote unquote real job or like a normal job. So this is sort of like their only option, or it makes it easier for them to be doing work and something that they really enjoy, and again build that community, um, and still take care of themselves, right? It offers just different options of people. Sometimes people who show their face on screen, they just find it fun, because sometimes it's easier for us to like, "Oh, I don't have to put on makeup," or like really like I can just wake up and start streaming if I'm doing sort of like this face tracking technology, as opposed to like having to um to show my face and people being like, "Oh, well, you look thinner today, or you look thicker, or like you look like you're tired, you haven't slept." There's a lot of intrusion that can happen on your own privacy when you're streaming, because people again are kind of hiding behind the screen. So they make it kind of like more difficult for people to do this type of job, or to be a streamer in a safe way. And also, um sometimes it's for their own mental health. Sometimes it's because um they have social anxiety, so doing anything in person, it's like really really difficult for them. Sometimes it's because of depression or other neurodivergent like, I don't know, things. And it makes it really difficult for them to hold a job. So a lot of the people that my brother and I tend to really fangirl about are other neurodivergent folks. Sometimes they talk about it openly. Like, for example, this VTuber right here, Haruka Karibu, she does talk about her autism diagnosis with other people, and like openly about it. There's some of them that talk about having ADHD. Others do not want to talk about it, and that's okay. Some of them talk about being depressed or socially anxious, and so again, this provides a safe way for them to be able to work and build those supportive communities, um, and while at the same time taking baby steps towards you know their own mental health, like healing their own mental health. Sometimes the lifestyle just prefer that. I'm not as comfortable. Like, some people are not as comfortable as others. I was gonna say as I am. I'm not that comfortable. I don't really even think about it. And then sometimes when I go back and watch my videos, I'm like, ooh, cringe. But again, some people just they prefer this. They're more like night owls, and this is a good job because most of them tend to stream later times, when people are out of work. And if that works for them, then great. um let's see. However, I kind of mentioned a little bit as I was talking earlier of the dark side of being a VTuber, just being in social media in general, or being sort of like a creator in some way. And I'll explain that a little bit more in detail. Just a heads up, this is Centrea. You can see her name on the on her. I was gonna say shirt, but I don't know if that's her actual shirt or not. But yeah. So um totally lost my train of thought. Great. So, okay, the dark side of being a content creator is, or being in social media, is that, like I was saying just a bit ago, people can just say whatever they want because it's anonymous, or because you don't really know who, you know, Dark Lord 20 something is, So a lot of people hide behind sort of like a screen to just sort of like be really mean, to be internet trolls, to make fun of people. And it can be very draining on people's mental health, or like not only the person who is creating this content, but also everyone who is following them as well. It Content creating can become in a way kind of addicting, because it's things that you really like to do sometimes, so you want to do more of those. And other situations, it becomes this thing of like, oh, now I have to do this thing because it's trending, and because I want to do I want to get a lot of sponsors, or because I want to be able to, like, continue making a living doing this type of job. So there needs to be a balance in there, and not everyone is able to sort of like create that balance. So that's something that people really need to be aware of. Not only other mental health providers need to be aware of this, because if they're working with someone that has this as a job, they need to be able to discuss this. But also people who are wanting to become content creators, or are like me, just fans of these creators, um, we need to be aware that this can be draining on them. And sometimes we talk about how draining it can be for them to be streaming every day, or sometimes they have a life, so they're not going to be streaming for like a month or so, and then people get really upset because they're not streaming. Like, they have their own life, they're people, they might not look like, they might look like animated characters, but they are people, like, behind the animated character. So we need to be highly highly aware of that. um, sometimes some of the communities are great, other times not so much. So content creators need to be aware of what type of community they're wanting to have, and how to go about setting boundaries and stuff to make sure that community, supportive community, is created. Also, because I said, they get sponsored by like big brands sometimes to play video games or to showcase a certain product. If they're not well informed as to like business practices, they can really become overwhelmed with all the expectations, and they might say yes to something that's a bit shadier. So there's a lot to that needs to be considered when wanting to be a VTuber. So I've been saying content creator because there's a difference between, hold on, let me see. Okay, so I there's a difference between a content creator and a what's the other word? Um I forgot what the other one is. But anyway, let's focus on content creator. I'm so sorry. And now my brain is kind of like shutting down again. Not enough distractions, I guess. Um okay, so a content creator is someone who just creates content, right? It can be someone like me that is, I'm doing all the content that I create for like my nonprofit. Sometimes it's just to educate other people, like teachers or other mental health providers. Do a lot of uh, this sort of like type of like content creator. We're not um, how is it, influencers. That's something different. um because influencers want you to sort of like follow their sort of like lifestyle. But if you're a content creator, regardless of whether you're a VTuber or not, these are certain things that we kind of have to keep in mind um when we are creating content, or we're going down the road of content creating. One of them is setting boundaries for yourself. So one of the problems that I run into personally is that I love doing all this kind of work. You do not know how many presentations I have that I want to give. This is part another reason, like, to raise funds for my nonprofit was a main reason for me wanting to do this like 12-hour stream, but also because I wanted to share these presentations with people because I've had them for so long and I'm like, what am I gonna do with them? Um, yeah, so here we are. But because I find them so fun, sometimes I can get like, oh, I have these like three other ideas that I haven't done, and I can get really in my head, and then I can just really just run out of energy and easily become burnout if I don't have any boundaries as to like how much time I'm spending creating this, or sharing it with other people. So same, like sometimes we can get like, oh, in order to get more views or more likes or more whatever, we have to do X, Y, and Z, and that becomes really it can become really toxic really fast. So we need to have those boundaries. It's like, how much time can we dedicate? Like, are we aware that sometimes the algorithm is the worst and it doesn't show our content to the people that we want them to see, that there's like internet trolls? Like, we have to be aware of all of these things when we are on social media, just in general, right? Having a supportive community, not only online, but in person, is also essential, something we need to have, because sometimes we need a space. Sometimes I need space from like my like in real life friends. So I connect with with my friends, my digital friends, my friends online, or my online friends, as I should have said. And sometimes vice versa. Sometimes I'm like, oh, it's too much staring at the screen, too much geeking out about something. I need like in person, like face to face sort of like connection. So it's really easy, especially if you're a content creator and you get a lot of internet trolls or a lot of people sort of asking really mean questions, things like that. Then it becomes more difficult and more essential, like more difficult just to navigate through all of it, but also more essential for you to have a supportive community, because we need time away from the virtual world. We also need to take care of our own of ourselves. or physical selves, emotional and spiritual. um because sometimes I think most of the time we tend to think of self-care as, eating healthier, exercising more, and that is self-care. But also sometimes we just need to, like, not have any sort of contact in social media. Sometimes we need space to take care of ourselves or be by ourselves, like without having any sort of like connection to either online or like other people. Sometimes we need to rant about whatever it is that we're struggling, just so like to get that validation from another person. So it's a lot of things that uh, we need in order to for our mental health and or general well-being to be uh, on the up and up. So these are things that need to be considered. And I could talk like a length about these, but they're supposed to be very short presentations, so I'm gonna try to stick to that. Okay, some suggestions in order to improve your own well-being overall as a content creator is have a work-life balance. All right, I do have another presentation that I did earlier today, and it should probably be on our YouTube channel, either now or in just a little bit. So don't forget to subscribe and check it out. I talk in more detail about how to achieve work-life balance. um Sometimes we have to have set hours, especially if you're a content creator, because you can just do whatever you want whenever you want, or so is the thought, right? But we need to have like set hours of like, I'll be streaming from this time to this time on these days, and then I'll be going to meetings, so I'll be working on like behind the scenes stuff on these other days. Make sure that we are having enough breaks, that we are taking care of ourselves, because sometimes I hear of people, or especially VTubers, just streaming for like 12 hours straight and maybe not eating or only snacking through the day, not taking care of themselves. So this is very important that they need breaks. uh Prioritize. Sometimes we have to prioritize certain things. Sometimes we hold on. One second. Canelo, ven aquí. Come here. He's just barking at probably someone passing by, or cat. That's it, all done, no more. Okay. Okay. um Prioritize your task. What is it that is urgently needed? What's something that can be pushed to later, to ensure that you continue having like those set hours and taking breaks. You can min max something, if you can set it all up ahead of time so you don't have to worry about it, that's better. uh, Anything that you can do kind of like as a shortcut, and you don't really have to think or make a lot of decisions when you're working, it just makes it a little bit easier. You can write yourself a to-do list. I am a huge fan of to-do lists, so I highly, highly recommend this one. And they're actually really helpful. Okay, more suggestions. Set goals. You can do it the smart way. Each of those letters stands for something. You can do a quick Google search and you'll find out more about that. You can, again, make sure that you're taking care of your physical health, not only by eating healthier and exercising, but also going to doctor checkups. Um, because that's important, like making sure that you're sleeping enough, that you're taking your medications, that you're getting up every now and then and stretching. That's also good. uh, Curating your feed is something that I recommend for everyone. So if there is a content creator or a page or something that kind of makes you feel bad about yourself, it doesn't create the best sort of like content for you, make sure that you curate your feed. Make sure that you only have um, good sort of like content on your on your social media feed. And that's one way to set boundaries for yourself, right? Like if I really like this person artwork, but they are very they talk a lot about politics, and I don't really care for politics, makes me very stressed, then I don't follow them. Right? Because otherwise it would create a lot of problems for you as a viewer. Sometimes we need to be aware of these things, because there's a lot of us. There's more viewers than there are content creators. S- and there's certain things we need to be aware of. right? If we are a fan of like a specific VTuber, these are some things that will be helpful for you and the community that you're a part of. Oh, look, this is another one of my favorite VTubers. I am like so biased because they all work in the same company. Um, so this is Giga. Um, and I kind of forgot her backstory, but she's really cool, and you guys should definitely check her out. But okay, so some suggestions for the viewers are be mindful. Come on, like it doesn't just before you write something online, make sure that it's something that's not going to be hurtful to like other people, that it's not mean, because depending sometimes when we put a like a written comment somewhere on the internet, it's open to interpretation, right? You can't really see or hear the tone of voice or body language for these comments, so we kind of have to be mindful of that. So if you are I'm a really big fan, and this is probably me being like what is it, I'm a millennial. Sometimes when I'm like joking, I just put an LOL after the comments, just to let other people know that I'm just kind of kidding, or I put one of those like send a meme or something, just so they know that I'm not being hurtful on purpose, that I'm just like joking or being sarcastic. Um, we need time to reflect on assumptions that are made, right? Because we might spend, especially if you have been a fan of a particular streamer, VTuber for a very long time, sometimes we can form those connections of like, we could just totally be friends if we met, in real life, or we make assumptions as to what they will say or how they will behave because we know so much about them. But also, we don't know much about them, so we kind of have to be aware of the assumptions that we are making about the people that we're a fan of. Be respectful of boundaries. If someone needs time off to take care of their health, if they need time off to be just because, don't be upset at them. Like if they said something that they didn't really mean and they said, I'm sorry, let me correct myself. Like, again, have boundaries for yourself, unlike other people, right? If you notice someone being really mean to them online, just be like, hey man, that's not cool, or woman, that's not really cool, like maybe not write those type of comments. But again, be respectful of boundaries, especially if some content creators have um a specific rules that they would like the community to follow, so be aware of those. Be supportive. Just like these content creators need to have an real life sort of like supportive community, so do we. And as viewers, just everybody needs to have a supportive community, so look for one. Sometimes we find it in these VTuber communities, or very niche sort of communities, so check that out. But also make sure that you're doing that in person as well. Sometimes it's going to comic book shops, or game shops, or like to certain conventions and meeting people. um, Psychology for Geeks is really trying to build supportive communities and safe spaces for us to geek out and talk about the things that we enjoy without being pressured to do certain things or behave in a specific way. So check out our Discord and check out our socials. We're also doing in-person events. So you can check out our website, www.psychologyforgeeks.com. And you'll have more information there. Take time off from viewing them. As a viewer, take time off from social media, technology in general. Every now and then is good. Find other people that you really enjoy watching. Have a variety of hobbies, not just like watching VTubers and knowing everything about this one particular VTuber or streamer. We all can benefit from having a wide variety of things that are helpful for us, whether it's like doing yoga, mindfulness, like techniques, practices, or whatever it is, have other hobbies. That's really, really important. My brain is like shitting down. I'm so tired. uh and really, that's kind of like, I would love to talk more about this, but I just wanted to do like just a really quick intro, so people who are not aware of VTubers now have a little bit more of information about that, and some tips and tricks on how they can take care of their mental health. And this works whether you are either a VTuber, or some sort of like other content creator in other platforms, or if you're just a viewer, or you're just none of those. All of these can be helpful for you as well. So I hope you enjoy that, and thank you for making it to the end of this YouTube video. We hope to see you in other ones. Check out some of our other cool videos. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. If you have any recommendations as to what VTuber or streamer are really cool and people should check out, please feel free to write that in the comments, and just be respectful and mindful of everyone. And don't forget to reframe and re-enchant your life. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.